let me tell you what I'm going to do today. So I am going to finish chapter 3. So chapter 3, we talk about different data type, like you have numerical, you have the string, you have a logical, the truth and false, and we talk about different operator, and also um, like a relational operator as well. The thing we haven't talked about is the input output. So I'm going to start with the 3.6, and to finish this one probably in half hour, then we will have some time to go over chapter 4. Okay, chapter 4 is also important topics. It's like a building block for the rest of the book. So I'm going to give you some example on the chapter 4 as well. Let me start with the 3.6. 3.6 is focused on one command. That command is called the input command. Okay, the input command. And there are several different ways you can use the input command. You can read through this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some code, and you can run this code with me. I already download the MATLAB version on my computer, so I'm going to share my window of the MATLAB. Okay, so here is the MATLAB, and we talk about the editor. So I put some of the command over here in an editor. In the middle, you will see the command to get the input, which is that you get info. If you want to get information from the user, you can use the command called input. It's very straightforward, right? Input just input. And the way to use it is there's like a two common way. One is that you use a variable, you make it equal, then you type input, then you put a parenthesis. So this is a typical way of using a function. The function name is called the input, and on the left-hand side is the output to this function. Inside the parentheses are the inputs that you wanted to ask from the user. So how do you use that? The basic one is this one. Just assign a variable equal to input and put a parenthesis, and the parenthesis, inside parenthesis is the prompt. It's the thing that you want to ask people to give you the result. So let me show you how I run this, and I'm going to show you 4 different kind of example, and you will see how it works. Okay, you probably noticed that I put like a circle over here. So in the MATLAB, if you have like an editor code, when you click on the space right by the number, you can put a stop point. So this point will stop the code unless I say run, otherwise it will just stop there and waiting for the continue command, then otherwise it won't continue to run. Okay, so I'm going to run this code, and you're going to see what the result looks like. Well, let me stop this one. I was working on the other one. Let me go back to this one here. Okay, save. I'm going to start to run. Okay, the first thing I run is run this number 5. The number 5 meaning clear screen and clear all the variable that I have in the MATLAB. So CLC is the clean screen. Clear is a clear the variable. Now it stop it here. It haven't executed the first line, which is line 6. Let me run the line 6. So if you go up here, there's a continue. You click on the continue, it will run. See, what the things give us is it shows the prompt. It will stop it there. My prompt is give me a number. It's right here, right? Give me a number. Now it stop it here. It waiting for with your input. So all you need to do is just type a number. So I'm going to type a number 10. And once you hit enter, and it's going to reflect what that is, right? It reflects tell you answer 1, which is the variable, will be equal to 10 because I entered 10. Okay, so that's what the first line would do. Now it goes to the second line. The second line, if I wanted it to run, I have to click continue. I click on the continue. Can you see the difference? Do you see the difference between the first one and the second one? If you read my code, this one stop at the number, but this one not end at the number. I put a slash and n. Okay. Now the slash and n meaning a new line. The slash is like a prompt saying the things after the slash is a special code. It's going to do different things. And the n is a special code telling the computer to jump to the new line. If you look carefully, see where I enter 10, the code stop at here, right stop at the R, and then just waiting at there, and I enter 10 right after number. But now it jumped to the new line, which is a better way because you wanted to separate them apart. It's not going to be the same line. And I can enter a number. So let me just enter a different number, like enter 8. Okay. And you will see the answer to equal to 8. Okay, so this just show you the difference. You can use this kind of special code, put a slash, and then represent a special code, a prompt for a special code, and the code n represent a new line. The third one is the answer 3 equal to input, and the prompt still going to be the same. However, I put the comma with a apostrophe as apostrophe. Now, this is the second way that you can use an input. When you include this, that means your input will be converted to a string, converted to a character. Okay, it's not going to be a number. If you enter a number, it will change it to a character of, let's say, 10 or 5 or 11, whatever that you enter. So let me run this by click continue. If you look at the bottom here, it's waiting for me to enter something. Let me just enter a -9. And you see the result returned to a prompt -9 because I said this is not a number. This actually is a string. Okay, it's a character. This is a -9. The last thing here, you see a bunch of /n, right? And I told you /n meaning a new line. So in this one here, you're going to see, once I run it, what you expect is you're going to see 2 lines. And one line is going to say, give me a number. The second line will be, must be a string. Okay, let's run this. And look carefully at the bottom, shows the answer of that. See, give me a number and /n, so it go bound to the next line, must be a string. Another /n, put my prompt at the bottom here. And that is the difference. So I'm going to enter a string. So how do you enter a string? Well, you have, if you remember last time, we talked about the difference between a single quote and double quote. Single quote represent character, which means each letter is a character. The double quote is represent, you put all this character as a one piece, and it's called a string. Okay, so if I use double quote and represent a string, so okay, I just type words. I didn't type a number. And it will tell you your answer 4 is, this is a string. It actually is a string because it's double quote. Okay, so do you always ask for a number, or do you ask for something like a letter or statement? Well, it depends on how you design the program, right? A lot of time, let's say you design a program, you want to, the user to enter his name, then you will use a string. If you have a program, you wanted to say, oh, do you want to continue? Type yes or no, type Y for yes, type N for no, then you're asking for a character. If you say, I wanted to tell me your age, then I want a number, right? Then you will say, tell me your age, but then you want a value. So it's up to you what you wanted to get. And you can design your code based on this several different way to get the answer. Now, again, I want to emphasize the slash n. You're going to see the slash n in the app printf as well. It's very useful because you don't want to have the line go continue infinitely, and sometimes it's confused. If you didn't jump to the new line, you're going to get the result to be like totally not what you expected. Okay.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
In line 4 and 3, it says the variable shall be, equal input. Then the other one variable equal in out. Is it there's a difference between that two description or something?
Yeah. So this one represent when you enter things, it will change to a string. So if you enter, let's say, if you enter 5, it's not going to be 5 if you include this one here. Let me show you this one here. Oh, it should be input. What did I do? I type it wrong. So this should be input.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
just different meaning or something.
Okay, sorry, that's my fault. Yeah, it's an input. It's an input. Yeah, I typed it wrong. Good catch. Thank you. Any other question about this?
I have one.
Yes.
So back to the same line, 8, I think. Why is it only one quotation? I thought string was 2 quotations.
This one here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be like a double quotation.
Oh, okay.
It should be, but somehow they designed this one. This option they only put like a single, but when you put this is just like an input. So if you type more than one character, then it will be a string. If you only have one character, then you can either be a character or be a string.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is just the way they designed the code to be, so you have to follow the rule to use this way.
So for double quotation, I can use it for string and character.
I'm not sure you can use double. Let's try this. Let's say, okay, I have this one here. Let me just try double quotation. So to just watch what happened to the variable. If I type, let's say I type, okay, I'm entering a string, right? I use double quotation. And you look at what happened on the right-hand side of the workspace, you're going to see a variable and see what the value is. The value is a double quotation, right? And let's see. So how do you, well, actually it is a string, but you see they include that with a single quote. I'm not sure what that is. The way to find out, there's a command called whos. Whos will tell you what variable that you have and what kind of type of that is. So I type whos, I see variable is here, is a character. So it doesn't matter how you type it, it's going to be a character. It's not going to be a string. Okay. So even though I type a text, right? They treat it like this. They treat my answer to be 6 character. One, the double quote counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They don't treat it like a string. They actually treat it like a character. I guess that answer why they use a single quote over here. Okay. Any question about this? I believe there's a command that you can change the character to a string. And normally in the MATLAB, if you want to convert something to another thing, and the rule is you're going to put 2 in between things like this. Let me see. Um, I'm not sure there's a command called that. Okay, there's no command called this. There probably is another name. I don't remember, so but there's so many different command there. So if you want to convert different data type, normally you're going to put 2 in between here, represent you're going to convert that to another one. There's a one we're going to show you today, which is this one. This is called a numerical to string. Okay, numerical to string meaning if you have a number, but you want to convert the number into a string, and then you use this command. Let's say I want to convert like a 199 as a number, right? But if you put it into this parenthesis, what happens is the result is going to be a string with 199 inside of that. Okay, any other question? These are very good questions, actually. All right, let's look on the next one. So the next one, so we're looking at a simple input. Now we wanted to move on to look at the output. So the next chapter, the next section in your textbook is talking about another command. Let me show you that command first, then we will look at some example here. So the next one is the basic output. The basic output, there's 2 they're going to introduce. One is the DISP. DISP is a command and meaning display. So the command will show on your screen. You can show a variable, you can show the value, you can show a string, you can show any kind of things on screen, and that's DISP. That is the command called DISP. Let me use an example to show you how you can use that. And this time, I am going to incorporate what's the numerical to string to show you how you use that. So here is the DISP. Okay. So you can see the command is called the DISP, and I include several different examples over here. I like to include like clear and CLC, just want to clear everything. I don't want to have any of the interference. And I run all these code at once. So once I click run, you will see the result. So the first result is 5. So what that means is if you have a display with a number, it just display a number. You can display an operation of numbers. So you calculate something, let's say you have an expression, you wanted to do the calculation, and you wanted to see the result, you can use the display with the parenthesis, and inside of the parenthesis is your expression. And as a matter of fact, you don't really need the display. If you just type the expression, it will show you the result as well. But if you wanted to display, but sometimes we wanted to use the display to kind of just wanted to show on the screen. If you put this symbol, which is semicolon, normally it doesn't show the result, but if you put a display, it will show the result anyway. So, so if you have to show the result, you can use the display command. Now, when you see the difference over here is on the line 7, I put a display, and the difference from the 6 is I put a single quote, which means it will show 5 plus 10, but it's not going to show the result of 5 plus 10, right? 15 was the line 6. This one is line 7. The line 7 shows these 2 in like a character. Okay, it shows the character of that. Now, what I wanted to let you know on this new command is that the line 8 and line. See, I put a command called the numerical toString. The numerical toString meaning that I'm going to convert anything inside of the parentheses from a number to a string. In this way, I can combine with my expression and my result into one line. So you can see I can put 5 plus 10 equal to 15, right? Isn't it cool? Then if you wanted to make it even more like a flexible, like, oh, you can design code to do some kind of fun thing. So let me just create a new code here to show you I can combine the input and also the display to show a result. And so let me just add an example. I'm going to add a function. The command is going to add two number into a result. Whoops. I guess I cannot use add. Add is a function that inside of the MATLAB. So let me forget about this command. Add two. Let me just create add two. There must be a new, yeah. So it shows you there's no add to function now. So I'm going to add a new function. Now this one here, I'm going to use the input to ask the user to give me two numbers. So first I say A is the input and say give me the first number, put a slash n. And then I will say B is input and give me the second number. I'm going to copy these. Okay, so this will give me a second number. Now, I put a semicolon at the end. I don't want to see it repeat my information. I just wanted to get my number. Now, I wanted to show the result, and the result, I wanted to be able to show which number they actually enter. Now, you will see I put a square bracket over here, which we will talk about this in chapter 4 as well. The square simply meaning that you're going to have several different elements. I wanted to show A number plus with the B number with an equal sign and show me the result of that calculation. And let me type the code and then let you see how we can do that. Okay, so this bracket and this bracket simply tell me everything inside will be displayed. But how do we display the result? Well, first thing I do is to convert my first number to a string. Because if you want to combine string together, you have to make everything to be like a string or like a character. So over here, I put a single quote with a plus sign, meaning there's another character I wanted to show. After that, I'm going to convert the number of B into a character again, and then I'm going to include a character called equal. Then I'm going to include the character of the result. So if I run this code, and you're going to see they are asking for the first number. So let's say I just enter like 3, okay? The second number, I add -9. And you will see it will show 3 plus -9 equal to -6. This 3 over here is the numerical to string A. This plus is the second character that you see, the plus sign. The number to string of B is the -9. And then show the equal, which is this one here. And -6 is the result of the numerical to string of A plus B.
I have
So
a
that
question.
is, yes.
The first one is numerical to string. So that means you change the number to character. Then
Right.
finally we add 2 character or 2 number.
Which one? This one here?
Yeah. Here we add 2 character, not 2 number.
No, these are still number. A and B still are number. A still is a number, B is a number, but we kind of convert it inside of this. It's not actually converted outside. It's only converted inside of this operation here. A and B still are numbers.
Okay, only for display. That's it. We don't change the
Yeah,
number.
yeah, that's right. Okay, is it clear about this display? Now, there's some other things that's interesting. If you wanted to generate, and we talked about this before, kind of like how do you generate apostrophes, right? Let's say you wanted to generate, I don't know, like this kind of things. Okay, and if you run this, it's going to give you an error because the single quote over here represent that you wanted to make this one to be a character. But it's not balanced because you have three single quote here, which is not going to be balanced. In order to display a single quote, you actually type the single quote twice. And that make this single quote to be like a balance. When we say balance, it's like the quotes or the double quote, single quote, there has to be like an even number. So now I have a 4 of them. And when you have the 2 at the at the same position, they treat it like a 1. So if you run this, then you will see. Oh, I have to repeat this again. Let me just do this one. You see the last line, I don't know, which is actually you put 2 single quote together, they only display 1. Okay, so that's the one that you can use over here. Okay. Any other question about this one here? Okay, let me go back to our Zybook. So this is the Zybook. I'm going to talk about the next one. Now, this one, you have to really do some example. Otherwise, it's not like an intuitive. The fprintf is a command which is so-called a formatted print. Formatted print meaning you're going to print something under some kind of format, and the F represent the format. Now, how can you write a format? There's a certain rule how you write a format. And let me just use the example to show you, okay? So the way to use that command is that you type fprintf, you put a parenthesis, and then after the parenthesis is the thing that you try to display. But inside the things that you try to display, you're going to use some special character. And that special character, if you look at the example right now, is the percentage sign represent the prompt of a format. After the percentage sign is the format that you try to set for the printout. Then you put a comma. After the comma is the thing that you try to display. Okay, so let me just use some example to show you. Maybe that will be much clearer to know how you can display that. Let me see this one here. Okay, let me change my screen again. Sorry, I have to jump between the Zybook and the MATLAB the MATLAB. I wanted to print what is the value of pi, okay? So you start with the f, print f. And after the f, print f, you're going to type the line that you try to print out. So you will put like the double quote here. I believe you can use the single quote as well. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's just use the double quote here now. So we use double quote. Okay, I want to print this result. I want to print the value of pi is equal to, but pi is like a floating number, it's an infinite digit, right? I wanted to just print certain part of this number. The most common one is the floating number. The floating number just represents a real number with the decimal point. So how do I print this? I'm going to write something like this, and I let you guess how I format it. Okay, I write a format. The format is called percentage 8.4f. And then I'm going to put a comma. What is the value you try to use this format? The value is actually the pi. Inside of the MATLAB, we have a pi represent the actual pi, all right? Is the value of the pi. If you don't believe, I can type pi over here under the command window to show you what that is. So let's say pi. So pi is 3.1416. And I told you, you can change the format so you can actually get a longer digit. And if you type format long, and you type pi again, you're going to see this is the pi with more digits, right? Now I'm going to ask you my command and let you see what this command is going to do for you. So let me copy this one here to the command window. And when I hit enter, and I want you to see what is the 8.4f represent. Can you guess what the 0.4 means?
4 digits.
4 digits, yes. So let me try another one. Let me change it to 2. That is 3.14. That means after the decimal point, how many digits that you want? Okay, now do you know what does A represent? The A actually represents how many space that you preserve for this number to show. So if you actually count, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's actually 8 space, not including the space after the 2, but starting after the 2, there's in total like 8 space, including the decimal. So 1, 2, IS is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A space is going to be preserved to show my number, but only 4 digits after the decimal point. All right, so that's how you use this one here. Now, let me change this one a little bit with this one here. I talked about this before, right? What does the slash n represent? It represents a new line. See, it shows me the number that you will jump to the next line here. Otherwise, the prompt this blinking bar is the prompt in the MATLAB. So if I didn't have the /n, it's going to prompt at here. It's not going to prompt at the bottom. So that's the main difference of that. Now, there's a several different format. Let me just try this with a different format. There is a format called D. When you use D, you don't use dot, okay? And there is a format called E. I'm going to use E as well. And there is a format, I think it's a capital E too. Okay, so let's see the difference. I'm going to put the stop sign here. And let's see what the result looks like. Okay, let's run this code. Okay, we're going to run the first one and you see what the result looks like. And that is the original one that we show you, right? A space reserved, and I only show 4 digits at the decimal point. And let's continue to see the second line. The second line will put D. Whoops. What is D? I don't remember what the D is actually. But you see the problem, if you didn't put the /n, it will just continue to print it. So let me stop this. Let me put a /n so we can see things more clearly. So I want to put the /n in here. Okay, this dot should be here. Dot should be here. Okay. Okay, let me run this again. So the first line, if we run it, this will be the result for the first line. If we keep on running it, second line, third line, and fourth line. I think the only thing that is weird is the second line. I have to check the command, but you can see the first line simply show you the floating number and the dot was the decimal point and you specify 4, so there'll be 4. And can you guess on the like a third line here with an E? So E represent like scientific number that you wanted to have the exponent over here, and you also going to keep the 4 after the decimal point. But in total, you only can take 8 space. So you count it from here to here, it can only contain like 8 space. But if you get over it, it would just display the overall things. If you count this, you actually have like what? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You actually have 10. Because it's over your specification, it will display all. But it will keep the decimal point with the 4 digits after that. The small e and capital E just simply represent, are you going to show the small e or capital E? Now, there's another one called I. Let me just write this one here. I just wanted to see what is the D and I represent. Okay. They're supposed to be, the I and D supposed to be like an integer. So if that's an integer, then you're going to display the integer. I guess the command would not automatically convert your number, like a floating number, to an integer. But you can do another way to show an integer, which is that what if you put this one is 8.0? Would that make it into an integer? Let's run this. You see it become an integer because I make it .0, right? 8.0 that I make no digit after the decimal point. So that's how you use the app printf. And if you do the homework that we give you, and now one that you have to specify the format. Just remember when you specify the format, you have to put this $sign over here. One thing I didn't mention is what happened if you have like two things you wanted to include in here. And let me show you how you do that. Let me just take out all these things and let me show you another example in here. Okay, what I wanted to show you is I wanted to display the things that I displayed before. Okay, now how do I write 5 plus 10 equal to 15? And to make it more general, it doesn't have to be 5. I can change A to different value, but I want to make sure this command can still work for any situation. And let me write a code and then let you see what that looks like. I think it's I. Two. Let me clear the screen. Let me run this code and see what happened. Okay, so can you guess what this line is doing by looking at this? This one represent, I have a number, I wanted to make it integer. The I represent integer. I didn't specify the space I need, which will be whatever the space that you have. Just give me that. And the second plus, the plus over here, just simply a plus. And another format, this format is for the second number. And the last one is the format for the A plus B. Okay, so if you change this one such that, let's say I wanted to change this to the 14 number, and this time I wanted to keep it like a 4.2. All right, if I change this and you watch what happened if I run this code. Oh, I put it wrong. So F should be at the end, not at the front. That's why it doesn't show right. Okay, now you see 5 plus 10 is still the same because they are integer. And then I changed the integer to be a floating number with a full space and 2 after the decimal point. But the overall result is larger than 4. It will keep the result. So it will keep the whole result. If I put 6, then you will have the more space than the result. Then you're going to see an extra space over here. Okay, any question about this? So that is the end of the chapter 3. I'm really slow at here, but I hope that you understand the idea that we try to tell you over here. All right, let me just jump to chapter 4, okay? And I just wanted to give you some idea about the chapter 4. Now, the chapter 4, they talk about a lot of different stuff here. But the main idea of the chapter 4 is to tell you how you can create an array. And what is an array? An array represents you have a bunch of number and they line up like a line. This line could be a horizontal, this line could be a vertical. When this line is a horizontal, we call this is a row. When this is a vertical, we call this is a column. But in the MATLAB, you can make a row array, you can make a column array. But there's a different way you can create that. and we're going to tell you how you can create a row array, which is 4.2, how you can create a column array, which is a 4.11. And you can also to change the array from the row to a column or the column to a row. In addition to that, and then you can manipulate the array by saying, I wanted to take some of the number out of the array, or I can do some operation to find some result from the array as well. So I'm going to show you several different ways to create an array. And by using an example to show you how this is going to work. You can read more result, you can read more information from the Zybug, but let me just use one example to show you the main things about this chapter. Okay, the thing I want to show you is this one here. I have a command. I have actually several commands. Each one of the command is going to generate an array. The first one here is array 1 equal to 1. Okay, so let me just run this code, and it's going to run line by line, and let you think what that represents. Okay, let me run the first one. It shows you array 1 is equal to 1, right? It's just the normal way that we use before. We say the array 1 is a variable, and we assign array 1 to be 1. This is an array. This is a special case of array. This means the array only have one element, and the result of that element is 1. It is a value, and it's 1. So that's the first line tells you. And the second line, we put array 2 equal to 1 and a column and 10. Okay, let me show you what the result looks like, and you will know what the column represents. Okay, the column represent is from 1 to 10. Okay, from 1 to number 10. So the column simply represent like the range, right? So from the 1 and then all the way to the 10. And that's what the column is. And I can change this one a little bit. I just add another number in between the 1 and 10. And in this time, I'm going to add a number called 2. And let me run this to show you what this will be. Can you guess what the 2 represent? That represents the increment. Okay, we start from 1, and every time I go to the next number will be increment by 2. So 1 plus 2 will equal to 3. 3 plus 2 equal to 5. 5 plus 2 equal to 9. 9 plus 2 equal, well, 9 plus 2 equal to 11, but my range is from 1 to 10, so I will not show 11. I'm only up to 9. So that's what this 3 number represent. This is a very useful way. This is called a shorthand way to create an array. You can create a same array in a different way, which is actually this way here, the array number 5. But before we do that, can you guess what the number that the array 4 represent? 1 and column negative 0.2 to 0. Let me show you the result and see if that's what your answer is. It starts with 1, and then it will goes to the end, which will be 0 right here. This is 0, this is a 1. But every time it's going to have an increment when the increment is negative 0.2. So you have 1 minus 0.2 will be 0.8, 0.6, 0.4, 0.2, and all the way to 0. So the number that you put in between is the increment. It could be positive, which you will increase. It could be negative, which means you are going to decrease. And you can use this way to create a series of numbers. All right, then we go to the array 5. Array 5 is the simplest way to generate an array. You simply just type all the value that you wanted to generate in between the square brackets. Square bracket is related to the array. It represents what are the elements inside of the array. So whenever you see the bracket, the square bracket, it represents an array. Okay. Now, this one here is the 5 is different from 6. And how are they different? Let's run this code here to see the difference. So it shows me is a column because it goes vertical. Horizontal is a row, vertical is a column. So, and then I have the same number, right? But the only difference is if you show a row array, you can use the space to separate the number. But if you want to make it a column, you put semicolon here. The semicolon is the symbol to represent when you show my first number, go to the next line for the second number, then goes to the next line and the next line. So semicolon represent jump to the second line. And it's similar to create a column. So semicolon means jump line. It's similar to the slash n. And that's the semicolon works. Now, I can make this one more interesting. Can you guess what this one is going to generate? And let me run this.
I think the first is the row, and the second one is the column.
Yeah, so the first column represents the row, and I have 2 elements in the row. Then I put a semicolon, meaning jump to the next line. So then it will start with 9 and 16. So you are creating, actually, this is what we call the matrix. You can combine the column and semicolon to be a combination to create a matrix. And also, comma is the same as the space. If you use the space, is the same as the comma. Okay, so comma and the space is the same. They create the horizontal, the row. They separate the row element. The next slide here, I put a bracket, but I didn't put anything. Okay, and that will create what we call empty array. This is an empty, meaning I have an array. I didn't put anything yet. I'm waiting for you to put anything in there. The line number 13, which is the last one, it's giving you what? 10 column 1. Is it different from the second one that we give you is 1 to 10. Now is from 10 to 1. And the result is going to be an empty result because you can go 10 to -1 until 1, but you cannot jump from 10 to 1. Because if you put 10 to 1, we are assuming this is so 10, 1 to 10 is the same like a 1 and 10. And what the middle one represent is the increment. So if you didn't type the increment, the middle number, it default is 1. However, if you put 10, 1, that means you increment is 1, and it's actually not possible to give you any of the result because 10 increment 1 will be 11, but the last number that you have is 1, so there's nothing in there. So this one will give you an empty. Okay, so that just tells you you can also create an empty array. Sometimes we want to create empty array. Okay, so there's some purpose that we will want to have that, but I just want to show you that you can also have an empty array as well in this way. Okay, any question about this so far? It's 3:39 now, but let me just show you another two things that you will see in this chapter in the real quick. Um, let's say I create an array like this. This shows me 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? You can combine the logical operator to combine with this. How do you combine this? Let's say I have an array with several numbers, but I wanted to have the code to tell me when the number is greater than 5. And the way you can do it is that you can say, I have an A. The A is actually 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. But tell me, is A greater than 5? And you can see the result give me 5 numbers. But these numbers are not numbers, they are logical because they didn't represent number. They represent true or false, right? 0 represent false, 1 represent true. So when I type A greater than 5, it will compare each one of the element with number 5 and to determine whether they are greater or not. If they're not greater than 5, it will be 0. If they are greater than 5, there will be 1. If I change this one to A greater equal 5, your result will be 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 because 5 is included because 5 is equal to the third element in the array. Okay, so that's one of the things you can combine with the logical. Another one is this. There's a keyword called AND. What does AND is this way. So if you wanted to show the number in the A array, you can type A. You can also say, I want just some number from the A. Let's say I want a first number to the second number. And that's all I need for the A. Then you use this way to get the number of A from 1 to 2, which means the first one and the second one. So they give you 1 and 3 because I only want number 1 and number 2. What if I wanted from number 3 to number 5? Well, you can use number 3 to number 5. And that will give you 5, 7, 9. But I have another way to give the 3 to 5, which is 3 to the end. So the end is the keyword saying to the end of the array. Why do we want to use the end? Why don't I just put 5? Why bother to put an end? Well, there's a situation that you have an array is too big. You just don't know where is the end, but you still wanted the number to be the end. So you put the end to represent, I don't know what the end number is, but just give me the number to the end. So this is the end. This is sometimes you can use for the end. Let's say you can also use the end to do some operation. I wanted to the end of the one before the end. You use n minus 1. So they give you 5 and 7. They didn't give you 9. Okay, so that's like the easiest way that you can get the number. Sorry, I still have one last one I wanted to tell you, which is one of the command that you can generate an array as well. That command is called the line space. Line space is a command to generate a series of number, and the way to use that is you use a starting number and you give an n number, and then you say how many number that you want to generate from the starting number to the n number. Okay, I'm just going to put 10. I want to start from 1 and I want to generate the number till 10. I want 10 number in between 1 and 10, including 1 and including 10. That's what this line means. And you can see it's going to generate from 1 to 10. And if you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until to 10, there's 10 number of that. If you want to generate, let's say I wanted to generate 1 to 100, and I want 10 of them. I want 10 number between 1 and 100, and this is a number. This is not like a 1, 10, 20, 30 to 100. Do you know why? It's not going to generate 1 and 10 and 20 and 30 until 100. Because it's not possible that you can, if you divide them, that's if you count it from 1, 10, 20, you actually have 11 of them. You don't have 10 of them, you got 11 of them. So if you wanted to generate that, you have to change to 11. And then you're going to get a number, well, you can see it's like a number 10, 20, because it's actually multiplied with 100 here. 100 times 0.01 is 1. And multiply, oh, this is actually not giving you that. I guess there's no way that you can generate like an integer between the 1 and 100. And if you start one from 0, then it will. It should be start from 0. It cannot start with 1. So 1 would never give you like an integer. Okay. There's another command called the log space. I would like you to try it. It's similar to the LIN space. LIN space represents a linear space. The LOG space represents a log space. Okay. I would let you read that by yourself. Any question about today's topic? Okay, if you don't, please work on your homework. And again, if you have question, feel free to send me an email. And if you get stuck, it happens all the time. And you can send me an email. If you use Pronto, it will be even better because I can get it instantly. So if you have the Pronto, if you haven't have the Pronto, install the Pronto onto your phone. It's like a text message. You can send me the question that you have, and I'll try to answer you as soon as possible. And then you don't have to get stuck in one problem. And let me know if you have any question or any concern about the MATLAB, and I'll be very happy to answer your question. And hopefully that you will have fun to do the coding. Okay, so that's it for today. Any